The meeting will focus on the future of Jerusalem. Both leaders voiced their concern over the US decision to recognize it as Israel's capital. Islamophobia and terrorism will also be on the agenda. Well, Maria Ramos joins us now from the Vatican. Maria.
Kamali, good to see you. Now, the historic meeting between the president of Turkey and the Pope Francis, has finished. It was the first for a Turkish president in 59 years. And topping the agenda between them was the subject of Jerusalem. Both the pontiff and the president agree that the status quo of Jerusalem must be respected. Now, to find out more about the Vatican's position on Jerusalem, I'm joined by a Vatican analyst. His name is Andrea Gagliarducci. Thanks so much for joining us, Andrea. Now, as I said, they both agree on the status quo. But tell us more about the Vatican's position.
Well, the Vatican always advocated for a two-state solution in which Jerusalem needs to have a central role, but not belonging to nor of the countries, nor to Palestine, nor to Israel. So the status quo will preserve the situation of Jerusalem as a sacred city, a holy city for all the religions. And that's why the Holy See always advocated for that, even to protect Christian confessions, Christian minorities over there, and even minority religions. And that's where Erdogan and the Pope agrees on the status quo. Obviously, the Vatican diplomacy never asked for East Jerusalem to be the capital of Palestine. This will never happen, because this is mostly a political decision. The Holy See mostly look at the overall situation of the region.
Okay, so basically, essentially what you're saying is that East Jerusalem could be a sticking point, but could this affect the two-state solution or anything that the Pope and the President agree on?
Well, it was probably part of the talks. But mostly not of the Pope Erdogan talks. The President then went to the Vatican Secretary of State, that is the head of Vatican diplomacy, and so they delved mostly into the more detailed issues. So the Pope and Erdogan mostly spoke about the general issues, in my view, as it always happened for the Holy See diplomacy. These, the disagreements will be affected on a diplomatic level, mostly than on a Pope-President level.
Okay. Now, at the crux of all of this is what can they really achieve with regards to Trump's decision on Jerusalem? Can they overturn what the US administration decided with regards to Jerusalem?
Well, they cannot overturn that because it's Trump's decision, it's Trump's administration decision, and no state can get into the decisions of any state. It's obvious that all the public opinion, including the Holy See, worked a lot and made a lot of statements about this respect of the status quo. And Trump's decision in some ways harms the status quo because it recognizes Jerusalem as the capital of one state, not of two states, not as a holy place for all the religions. But actually, the Vatican can work mostly as a mediator between the parties, as they always did, trying to find a common solution that can be fit for each of the parties.
Okay. Now, talk to us a bit more about the Vatican's role as a mediator. We know that international diplomacy for the Vatican has been something quite symbolic and important with regards to the US and Cuba. Tell us more about this.
Well, we should remember that the Vatican, as a sovereignty, as a small state, but the state is just a tool for their mission. And their mission is that of, bringing the Catholic faith in the world and even working for the common good of human beings. So the Holy See has 183 diplomatic ties with nations. I think just the US has more diplomatic ties than the Holy See. And since they have no territory and they have no economic interests, they work as a third party. But since immemorable times, even Leo XIII, the Pope Leo XIII in the 19th century was called as a mediator in some of the disputes. So this is what the Holy See can do.
Okay, so they've been mediating since the 19th century. Thank you so much for that. There you have it, some analysis on what the power of the Vatican is with regards to mediating in the question of Jerusalem. And that was my guest, Andrea Gagliarducci, a Vatican analyst. Now, the President of Turkey will be meeting his Italian counterpart and the Prime Minister in his next meeting today here in Italy. Back to you, Kamali.
Okay, Maria, thank you.